Good evening. Tonight is a public meeting of the Lowell Zoning Board of Appeals for July 23rd, 2012. I would like to ask everyone, if you plan on speaking on behalf of a petition, that you please sign in with your name and address before addressing the board. Tonight we have one continuance and 3 matters under new business. We'll take up the matter of the continuance. This is ZB 2012-27. The petition is a variance. The applicant is Jose Silva. Property is located at 20 Florence Street, and the petition is to construct a 24 by 24 garage within the front yard setback pursuant to section 5.1 of the zoning ordinance. And since that meeting, I know you're here tonight, sir. We did receive some communication regarding a continuance. Would you like to tell us anything else?
Yeah, well, we'd like to make a few changes, and one of them being we plan on turning the garage sideways. We plan on cutting it back 2 feet to 22 feet, and we plan on turning it sideways. I have a picture from the, this is the new, from the engineer.
Okay, so we're still going to continue this, correct?
Yes, yeah, but I was wondering if I could just
Sure.
make a couple of comments and see if you guys would
Sure.
give me any feedback on this.
Sure. If you have some handouts, we'll take a look at them.
It brings us to 11.25 feet from the street, and it changes the direction of the way the cars are going to flow out of the garage. Basically, it makes the driveway about, 40 feet long. So I don't think there'd be any more like discussion about the cars blocking the roadway or whatever. And we also plan on making the roof a hip roof so that it would look like a one-story building from all sides.
I'm sorry. Have you been in contact with DPD during these changes? Have
No.
you discussed? Okay.
No.
Yep.
I was just hoping that I could get like a comment or two from the board to see if this is more pleasing, or before we start doing the actual, like, building plans.
Well, obviously you just handed this off.
Yeah, I know.
You did ask for a continuance. I'm not
Just
about.
looking to
I'm
see
not
what
about
color
to get
smoke
into-
is coming out of the chimney.
Yeah, I'm not about to get into particulars on it. I appreciate you at least submitting, you are working on it. Well, let me ask you this. Are you looking at coming back again in our next meeting or the meeting after that?
The
Again,
next meeting with the full set of plans.
Okay.
Hopefully, I'd like to know if this new plan is kind of going to float, or if it's just like totally out of the question. Just to get like some sort of indication leaning one way or the other.
Yeah. Well, as I told you at the last meeting, I wanted to make sure you had enough time to
I know.
take a look at this. So that's why I'm still extending the opportunity. We don't need to be in a rush to get this done. If you believe you still have enough time in 2 weeks, or our next meeting, I'm not sure if it's 2 weeks or 3.
3 weeks.
Again, if you need more time than that, that's fine with me. So Joe, if I can just direct a quick question to you. Since this is a continuance and the applicant has submitted, another, I guess I'll call it preliminary plans here, I mean, how far do we want to entertain what's been submitted tonight?
Well, the public hearing is still open. You could, if you wanted to, take public comment if anybody was here to speak on behalf of the project. It's really at the board's discretion how much you want to get into the plan, having just received it.
Yep.
You could still continue it without getting into it or having some initial feedback. It's
Okay, so with that said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it back up to the public, see if there's anybody else like to speak on this, and then I'll move it to the board and see if any of the members have any comments.
Very
All right,
good.
sir?
Very good, thanks.
Thank you. Anyone, I'm going to open up the public meeting. Anyone here like to speak in favor?
I would speak against it.
Okay, sir?
I would sign in as I'd need a pen.
Okay. Joe? Does-
Thank you. Okay. I'd like to speak about this on 3 points. The first point-
Could you tell us,
My name is Greg Hill. I live at 21 Thornton Avenue, which is contiguous to Mr. Silva's property.
okay,
I live there, I was born there, so it's been there over 50 years. I'd like to point out a couple of things. One, there was a meeting 2 weeks ago I hadn't been informed of, so I just want to let you know there's some problem with the delivery system. So it's done, but I found out about it and I'm here.
yep,
Do want to point out that somebody entered onto my property, knocked on the door the day of that meeting on whatever it was, the 7th or the 9th, I guess,
okay,
and said, do you have any plans to go to this meeting tonight? And I said, what meeting? And he says, well, there's a meeting tonight, and I'm from the city of Lowell, and you need to be there. And I said, well, wait, can I see your identification? And he mumbled something, and off he went. So there's something went wrong here, so you should be aware of it. Second point why I'm objecting to this, and I printed this off the city website, and I've done some calculations. And I'm working off the original plan of 9¼ foot setback instead of 30 feet. First thing, I've walked the neighborhood. Howland Avenue, Virginia, and Thornton are the 3 streets that are contiguous to Mr. Silva's property. Counted the properties, there are 60 properties, 26 of which have garages that are set back 30 feet or more. So the nature of the neighborhood is consistent. This would make it inconsistent. Now, the other point I'd like to make, and I have a handout,
sure.
So if we're looking at the diagram, if you draw your attention to where I have it marked off. So if you are coming down Howland Avenue, that is my concern. My concern is not only for me, who is at 21 Thornton, the house directly down the street, but for the community in general. Somebody's coming down Howland, you'll notice it is not refer to it as a corner lot. It is not a corner lot. A corner implies a right angle. Even on this diagram, it's curved. So they're approaching what's a swerve. People coming down Howland, on the left, there is no incoming traffic. There's a piece of city property there that's blocked by a guardrail. It's now being used as a park. Somebody's installed a basketball backboard. A lot of kids ride their bikes, skateboards, whatever. So it's a heavily traveled area of young people. So an individual coming down Howland to go down Thornton, I'm estimating they would have about 42 feet of alert. As they take the corner, they would see Mr. Silva or whoever vehicle it is exiting out of the driveway. And if you read the notation I made down here in math, somebody going 27 miles an hour, you're going 40 feet a second. is about 42 feet that somebody would have to be able to make a reaction. That means you got 1 second to make a reaction to stop. I think it's a serious, dangerous, it's a hazardous situation, and putting a garage there would only compound it, because right now there's a driveway there, but you have open spot, you have an open sight line, so he could see traffic coming down. If he's coming out of a garage, he's looking at a wall until it's too late. And this is an accident that it's not a matter of if it's going to happen, it's when. So those would be my concerns. One is it changes the nature of the neighborhood. The other 30 people, what if they decide to reclaim their real estate, make their driveways into garages or storage spaces? If you allow this, you'd have to allow that, or at least consider to allow it. So I object to this. I haven't seen the redo plan, and maybe that addresses it. But as it's constituted right now,
Okay.
it's a hazardous to the community.
Yep. So, Mr. Hill, are you directly across from the proposed,
No, see where his outline is?
Yeah.
I'm the one to the top of the page, 21.
21? Oh, okay, okay. So you're actually, your property is the abutting property
Yes.
going down Thornton Ave?
And I have to back out of the driveway on the Thornton, and the cars come whipping around that corner.
Yep.
And I have some pictures that'll show you that there's a rut there. They've gone off the road, so they're really taking like I call it a swerve, but there's no stopping, take a left and take a right. It's just,
Yep.
go down Howland and onto Thornton.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add, sir?
No, that's it.
Okay. Sir, do you have an extra copy of your new plans? You'd like to, if you just want to give them to Mr. Hill, if he wants to take a look at them. All right, is anybody else here that'd like to speak, either in favor or in opposition to this petition? Okay, hearing none. That portion of public hearing is closed.
This way, they're gonna come out this way.
But the rule is a 30-foot setback, 30 foot is 30 foot.
That's why, I think.
Okay, gentlemen. Excuse me. Okay, I want to open it up to the board now. I can't have you
Okay.
talking while we're... Dennis, is there anything you'd like to comment on at this point?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have no comments at this time.
Kevin?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to reserve comments at this time as well. Thank you.
Okay. Gary?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, no comments at this time.
Corey?
Excuse me, yes, through you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a concern. I see the buffer is now a little over 11 feet from the street to the driveway, and, I still don't know if you can still work with planning and development and Joe and make sure that's enough buffer for say, a pickup truck. And again, if sidewalks do get installed, again, it's not probable, but, that needs to be considered as well. I don't know, like I said, we're not making a decision here tonight, but please I'm just giving you a heads-up measure, so to speak, that, make sure the significant buffer if a sidewalk is installed too down the road. That's all I'd like to mention. Thank you very much.
Okay. Van?
No comments, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, sir. So your schedule, Joe, what's the date for our next scheduled meeting?
The next scheduled meeting is August 13th.
Okay. So this continuance will now move to August 13th. And at that point, you can come in with your new set of plans and we'll rediscuss it. And sir, you're more than welcome to come back here on August 13th. This is a continuance. And we'll be re-reviewing the new set of plans and hopefully taking a vote on this. Okay? Thank you. Okay, next matter before us is under new business. And
Mr.
this
Chairman,
is a...
if I may, there should be a vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. Got ahead of myself. We got to take a vote for the continuance. Okay. So can I have a motion for a continuance?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for continuance in GBA 2012-27 for a variance at 20 Florence Street.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Have a roll call.
Mr. Bailey?
Continue to August 13th.
Mr. Belanger,
Continue.
Mr. Ahern,
Continue.
Mr. Perrin,
Continue to August 13th.
Mr. McCarthy.
Continue.
Okay, that matter will be continued to August 13th. Next petition before us is under new business. This is ZB 2012-29. The petition is a special permit for signs. The applicant is Adam Prill. Property is located at 138 Highland Avenue, and the petition to install a 3x4 internally illuminated sign for a new pharmacy pursuant to Section 6.3 of the zoning ordinance. Good evening, Mr. Prill.
Sir?
What would you like to tell us about your sign, sir?
Our sign is standard size, as it was stand there for the past 40 years, according to the landlord. The size of the sign is a 2 feet, I think 4 feet square, standard height. The sign's always there. It's just we're not looking forward to modify the size or make it such a significance that create any sort of hazardous for our neighbors or surrounding businesses.
Okay. So you're opening up a new business there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add at this point?
No, I just want to have the sign up and
Okay. All right.
open the business.
Okay. I'm going to open up to the public. Is anyone here that'd like to speak in favor of this petition? In favor? In favor? Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Anyone like to speak in opposition? 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 Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. I'd like to open up to the board. Dennis?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I went by the site, and I just want to be clear as to the property. There's a L-shape store area, is that correct, that you're going to be occupying part of?
Yes.
And it's multi-tenant right now, and you're going to have your sign up. Is it going to be all the pharmacy, or is it going to be still multi-tenant?
For now, it's just for the pharmacy, because the rest of the tenants have no intentions to put up the sign. Until they decide to do so, then we can discuss later on. As of now, they have no objection to our sign up.
And what did the sign say before?
I believe it's deja vu, some sort of reuse clothes or
Yes.
somewhat, I'm not sure.
Yeah. And it's mounted to a telephone pole?
No, it's mounted to a metal pole.
Oh. Okay. Is
Yeah,
the
it's
sign
sort of-
today
Yes,
internally
the sign
lit?
is there. It's a little old.
Yes,
you-
it's kind of a little tilted.
Right,
there
the
a little bit.
truck hit it last winter, according to the landlord, and we're gonna fix that up.
Okay, that's a good sign to fix up. I'm glad you're trying to do that. So is it internally lit right now?
Right now, I believe it doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to have any
So-
light on it at all.
No, there's no lights on as of now.
Yeah, so I don't think it's internally lit. Okay. And how high off the ground is it going to be?
It is standard, I believe. Is it 20 feet to the height? I'm not sure, okay? I'm not in the signing
It seems
area.
a little high there. Yeah, I don't think it is. It seems like it's a little lower than that.
But my signing company will adjust to the standard. I'm here just to appeal that the sign's going to go up. All the regulations is going to be done by the signing business. Somebody's going to install for me, in other words.
It appears as though the original intent of the sign back when it was installed has a bracket on it that may have been able to support lighting so that it didn't need internally lit sign. At one time, was it lit from the sides, maybe?
It was, I saw the light overhead, which never works, so
That doesn't work either?
no, it doesn't work. But I have my electricians re-modify the whole thing up.
You know, I like to hear you talk like that because it doesn't come across as a sign of a thriving business. It comes across as a sign that's almost temporary. So I think that it needs to be enhanced more than just the backlit sign itself, too. But I'm kind of wondering why you're not choosing to ground light the sign. You don't have a lot of competition with other businesses in the area that are competing, and the traffic goes relatively slow there. It's at an intersection, so why do we need to have the internally lit sign versus a lit sign from the sides?
I believe it's also for security reasons. That plaza tend to be very dark at night. The street light doesn't have enough brightness to make us feel secure. So by having light sign up, we at least have some sort of visibility when we leave, when we go home, when we shut the business down. So that's also my intention, is for security purposes.
But it's a neighborhood, and there's a lot of residences, and it's a very, active neighborhood, and it's a very small business community there. There's only 3 businesses there, and I think one of them doesn't even have a internally lit sign. It's just a variety store, I think, across the street that has an internally lit sign. So I'm kind of wondering why you need to have an internal lit sign versus a sign that's lit from the sides. Security is one thing, but you can supply site lighting for that. You could have the light that's on top of the pole actually be operating so that you could light the site. So I'm not sure that this is the right application for an internal lit sign. And I don't know if you really even need it to be a thriving business here, because you certainly could, you're not visually competing with other businesses like yourself in the area that, if you don't have internal lit sign, you're going to lose business. Well, I don't know if that's really the case. This is not that kind of location, I don't think.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Again, I'm not an electrician. I'm not creating a sign for a living. I have no idea what the sign's gonna be. All I'm saying is that I'm here to see if I can have some sort of sign up, and then if my neighbor opposes it, then how would I want it to be done? I just want it up.
If I may speak, please. Basically, hi, my name is Surya Sok, and I am the pharmacist on duty, part of the business here. Our main intention to have the sign lit is I believe it's a good situation for everybody, as the for customers and patients, to enhance the awareness when we have the sign up. It's good for the neighborhood. I believe that as far as the opposite sign, the retail, Parker Street, they do have one. So for us, it's basically, I think it's not in a competition, but to enhance the awareness of the public and for the neighborhood.
I don't think it's a discussion for whether the sign's lit, it's how it's lit. And I think that you could have the sign lit from a fixture shining on the sign that would be in keeping with the neighborhood character and provide less glare and less of an issue for neighbors. And I think that's what I'm getting to here, is that I don't know if there's an application for an internal lit sign, because the location doesn't really, it's not a high commercial location, it's a very residential location.
It is, yes.
So I don't know if internally lit signs in this application make sense versus a lit sign, because you should have a lit sign with a light shining on the sign. So there's less glare, and it's more in keeping with the character of the neighborhood, I think. So that's what I would propose, that you would go back to the standard that would be even a little more upscale for your location, I think, and feel a little more in keeping with the neighborhood and more compatible, I think, with the residences. So I'm not sure you have a strong case for internal lit signs, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Kevin?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. Were you intending to change the light from, it's currently a fluorescent light, at least according to the application, to an LED light or something? Fluorescent lights just tend to be bright for a neighborhood application. Was there any changeover, or are they just changing the bulbs and the frontage of the sign? And
Again, I never look inside the sign. I have no idea what was the previous sign like.
Right.
Is it neon bulb or regular light bulb? What is the voltage? I have no idea. And how bright is it? If it's very bright, that it's gonna bother my neighbor. They will let me know. If you're concerned about the light, yes, we can put the lights over it. It doesn't bother us. We just want to sign up.
Right, well, I
We
think Dennis
basically
is,
just want to enhance the awareness that we are here, we're existing, you know.
well, I think Dennis
for the
brings up a good
convenience.
point. I mean, it's a neighborhood, that there are a lot of houses around there, and even across the street, I think over the variety store is some residential units. So a bright, I think it's gonna be a white light for the most part, is gonna be very intrusive from a lighting standpoint, people in their bedrooms or in the surrounding towns. So I agree that I think it would be a better application for side lights, kind of pointing up the sign where the light hits the sign versus hitting the exterior. From a security standpoint, I mean, we typically would recommend lights are turned out if it was an internally lit sign at close of business, those type of things anyway, or an hour maybe after business. So that really wouldn't hold water, I guess. I wouldn't recommend that for a security use anyway, I guess is my point. So I think I agree with Dennis as far as an application may be better for a nice sign with lights directed towards the sign versus internally illuminating the sign.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Gary?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. Currently, what are your hours of operation?
Yeah, I can speak for that. We plan to close on Sunday. Monday to Friday is 9 to 7, and Saturday 9 to 4.
9 to 7 and 9 to 4?
Yeah.
So your petition is to have an internally illuminated sign. So you would, if you're closing at 4 and at 7, you really would just need the sign lit during the fall and the winter, correct?
Yes, yeah.
And you would, I presume you had mentioned you had some security issues as it relates to the sign, but obviously, that's not a security lit type of sign for that purpose. So my guess would you would shut that sign off at close of business, or it would be on a timer, an hour after business, 45 minutes after business? Is that a plan, or is that something that you need to think about?
That is in our plan. We're gonna turn the light off an hour after business closed.
You can or cannot, I'm sorry.
We will turn it
You
off.
could.
Yes.
Is it going to be mechanically timed?
It's
Are
a
you
timer.
looking-
It's a
Gonna
cell
have a
timer.
timer on it?
I'm sorry to cut the conversation. Also, I would like to ask if it is permissible that because of the lighting and the visibility condition during, for the fall and throughout the winter, obviously we don't have enough sunlight. So if we're allowed to maybe turn on 2 hours or so beyond the point that we close, although, during the summertime that it's okay, we could shut it down, at regular closing time. So that's my request.
Okay. My initial concern is, it is a neighborhood.
Okay.
The white, bright light, at this particular point might be a nuisance to some people. I did look at the property and the condition of the surroundings around it. You are in the middle of the neighborhood. I tend to think that ground lighting might be a better option as well. However, my concern is when it would be turned off and how it would be turned off. Certainly, we wouldn't want to have a white light like that in a neighborhood, 9, 10:30, 11 o'clock, midnight hours. So those are my questions for now, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Before I go to Corey, you mentioned you're going to use a sign company, right?
I'm sorry?
You mentioned something about a sign company?
Yes.
So generally, we get, a rendition or something from the sign company itself. What company are you using?
We might use mic sign,
What's that?
mic sign or Miniman Press. they gonna work, design, they design the sign for us,
Yep.
install it for us.
Okay. So I'm pretty sure I heard you say you're going to use the existing pole that's there, even though it's been knocked to the side. The landlord's going to fix the pole, correct?
Yes.
You using the same frame?
No, the frames are beat up.
Okay, so
We
you're
don't wanna
going
use
to, you're going to dismantle the frame, put up a brand-new sign with a brand-new frame, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'll push it to Corey. Corey?
Thank you, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do share some of the same concerns as the other board members. You know, this is, not to be repetitive, but it's highly residential. You literally are almost encircled by residential homes where this sign would be placed, okay? Your plan here, you know, as the chairman states, a little incomplete. We don't know who the designer is, the height. We have an idea, but again, we don't have the general height. We'd like to know that, too. You know, I understand what you're trying to do. You're trying to, you know, attract your business to customers, and I fully, you know, understand what you're trying to accomplish. But, you know, if you close at 7 and we allow you, I'm not saying this is going to get approved, but if we allow you 1 hour after closing, that's 8 o'clock. Now, 4 months a year in the summertime, it doesn't get dark till after 8. You know, in the wintertime, I understand. So, you know, you'll be using this roughly 6 to 8 months a year, a couple hours a day. You know, I just don't see what you're gaining really from this. And I think the neighborhood character stands to lose more than the business gains, in all honesty. So we want to help you and your business, but we don't want to hurt the character of the neighborhood, okay? And, you know, that pole is dilapidated, and needs a new sign, and I'd like to see a sign there, most definitely. But I think the type of lighting you want to use is out of character with the neighborhood. What I'd like to see you do is continue this for 3 weeks or the end of August and work with planning and development on redesigning a new sign that's externally illuminated and you can turn off, you know, 8, 9 o'clock at night, and I think your business will have the same visibility and without hurting the neighborhood character. So that's my recommendation, and we'd go from there, okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Corey. Pam?
I have no comments, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Well, I guess I have to agree with pretty much the tone of the board. We believe the intent is good that you have, obviously, and anything with a new business, we try to help as much as we can. But I think basically the way the plans were submitted to us, I think are a little incomplete. I would like to use Corey's suggestion that we might want to continue this, and I would definitely, again, based on Corey's comment, maybe reach out to Joe and the staff and get a better idea of maybe coming back with a different set of plans that are more in line with the comments were made by the board. I think we're close, but I think we got to tie some things off here. That's our suggestions now. If you want to still proceed with this, we can certainly do that, but I would give you the opportunity, if you'd like to continue and maybe rework this a little bit and come back, we could entertain that, or if you want to move forward tonight, we can also do that.
What do you think? Come back or?
Yeah, you know, I mean, my intention is to open up pharmacy, and it's, you know, it's for the good of the people, for the good of the profession. So obviously, the ultimate conclusion is if that upsets the neighbor and they disagree or object to the sign, I don't have any problem with that, because it's for the good of everyone else involved.
Okay. Dennis, you had a comment?
3, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to add that the reason you're here is for a special permit for an internally illuminated sign, but you can certainly have a sign that is illuminated in this area, but it just can't be internally illuminated. You can certainly have a sign without going for a special permit. I don't know if you're aware of that. So you can certainly have a lit sign and have a successful business, and everyone can read your sign by the zoning bylaws, which would not require a special permit. Just so you're aware of that. I just wanted to make sure that you understood that. Okay. You understand what I'm saying?
Not really.
Is-
Because right now we're thinking about the sign internal
Internal versus
internal
external.
lit, and we need a special permit and special design, which I think is gonna take way too much of our time and effort.
See, it's a little simpler than that. There's two types of signs. There's a sign that you put up on the wall and you shine a light on it, and that's allowed by zoning without a special permit, I believe, Joe, is that correct?
That's generally correct, yes.
So you can do that, and we want you to do that, and we prefer that you do that.
So, but how can, so we cannot put the sign up on a pole? That's what you're
It
saying?
can still be on a pole. Is that correct, Joe? You can have a freestanding sign on a pole
Yes, that's correct, yes.
without a special permit. And so all we're suggesting is that you change the way you light the sign. So you still have your lit sign.
So if I understand you correctly, we have the sign, quote unquote, is a dead sign. You just have to have the light protruding or shooting to that sign as opposed to the lit inside box?
Thank you. You got it.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay,
That's the preferred way to do it. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you very much. I think we're clear. Yeah.
So, what would you like to do?
We would like to proceed with that.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
right.
based on that comment and Dennis's comment, now we'll go back to Joe. So Joe, since they've come before us, and we've talked about a different avenue here of, without the illumination piece of it, internally illuminated, and if they can operate with a freestanding sign with a light used, do we want to continue with this? Or do we want to take a different route? I think obviously, you know, these people came here, they applied in the way they felt that they needed to apply. Now that things have been explained a little bit more clearer, hopefully. I'm not sure that's really what they had an intention, but now that they've been, I guess, I use the word educated, and I don't mean that, you know, facetiously. Do we want to still proceed with this for the special permit, or based on the way Dennis has outlined it, you know, the applicant wouldn't have to really come before us, would work with your department? So I guess I'll put that mess in your court.
Right. Well, there are a couple different avenues that could take. One would be to continue it to a later meeting. Another one could be that the applicant withdraws their petition if they're not going to be utilizing any internal illumination. That would probably be the cleanest way to do it, rather than having a denial
Yep.
and then looking to have some other sign later. Withdrawal without prejudice would be probably the quickest and cleanest way to do it.
Yep.
If
Well,
that,
That's, I guess, where I was leaning towards, but I didn't want to make that recommendation and stick my foot in my mouth. Do you follow what Joe just explained? In other words, if you withdraw the application or petition without prejudice, then you can pretty much go forward with, based on the comments like Dennis has made. In other words, you came here for a special permit. You're not going to need a special permit if you decide to go the other route. So if you decide to withdraw, then basically all bets are off, and you can restart your program of how you want to put the sign up, how you want to light it, and not come back before us with a special permit.
Yeah, we decided to withdraw and move on.
Okay, good. Okay. So Joe, based on that, do we take a vote to, based on the withdrawal of the petition?
yeah, the motion would be to allow the withdrawal without prejudice.
Could I have a motion, please?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve ZBA 2012-29 at 138 Highland Avenue to allow the petition to withdraw without prejudice
Could I
a
have a
special permit for illuminated sign.
have a second?
Second.
A roll call?
hesitated.
Mr. Bailey?
Approve the withdrawal.
Mr. Blander?
Withdraw.
Mr. Ahern?
Withdrawal approved.
Mr. Parent?
Withdraw.
Mr. McCarthy?
Approved to withdraw.
Okay, well, thank you very much for coming down, and
Thank you. I appreciate your
we
time.
wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, our next matter before us is ZB 2012-30. The petition is a special permit under signs. The applicant is Basil Karanistakis, and I apologize profusely if I hacked that up. Property located at 1782 Middlesex Street. The petition is to install a new internally illuminated freestanding sign pursuant to Section 6.3 of the zoning ordinance. Good evening, sir.
Hi, I'm Daryl McCrensky. I'm the contractor for Basil at 12 Wood Street.
Okay. What would you like to tell us about the sign, sir?
Sure. Basically, when the project went before the different boards, we weren't ready to tackle the sign issue during those approvals. As you can imagine, we had a lot going on with just the project itself. And Basil really wasn't sure exactly placement-wise. You know, the use of the property changed, you know, from the hair care, the hair salon expanded. So we held off on the sign, and now we're back to specifically take this up. The hair salon always had an internally illuminated sign. It was a little bit farther down the road, sort of on the corner of Wood Street and Middlesex Street. And we were able to use that right up until the time we did the sidewalks. If you kind of look at the picture where the sidewalks are on the plan we submitted, that's when I had to take the hair care illuminated sign down because it just happened to fall directly in the middle of the sidewalk. So basically, that's it. That, you know, we determined that the island as you first enter off of Wood Street was the correct location for the new sign. And you know, we did play around at one time with some ideas about maybe putting sort of a brick planting box below it. And Basil might be able to talk a little bit about that a little bit more, but initially, you know, it was brought up, but we sort of set on this particular design.
So when I looked at the plans, the sign plans that were submitted, it looks like it's set up for, I'll say 6 tenants, is that correct?
5.
5?
Yep.
Because when
I would, my understanding is, I believe there's 5 tenants, I know that, and it was just gonna be the name of the plaza itself on top.
okay. Because I drive by there plenty of times, and the other day I was at the lights, and you have the 2 separate buildings there now,
Yep.
correct?
Correct.
And the building that was put up last, looks like there's gonna be 2 tenants in there?
Correct.
And then in the other building, for some reason, I thought there were 4 tenants in there. but
3.
It must be the one that's on the corner there, must have the sign on twice or something, so I can't count from 3 to 4, obviously.
It's a little tough to see, especially from Wood Street or Middlesex, because especially now, the new building hides that area, so you don't really see how far it extends.
Yep,
Yep.
okay. So 5 is the maximum number of tenants are gonna be
Correct.
there. 5 is the maximum number of, obviously, signs that we're going to see.
Yep.
The other thing I noticed is if I take your sign that you're proposing, I'll call it a state sign, is on that same side of the street. Looks like it's on the state property also. It's on the other side of the sidewalk.
Yep.
Do you know offhand, what's the difference in height between your sign and that particular sign that's going up? Their sign looks like it's probably, I don't know, maybe 10 feet. I was trying to get almost like a comparative between, not that they're the same type of signs, but
Yeah.
just based on where yours is going up and where theirs is further towards or closer to the lights. I was just kind of curious what it would look like.
I think you're right on the money that the other side seemed about 10, 12 feet, somewhere in that range to me.
Yeah.
And this one's just under 16 is what they're showing.
So this sign is not even gonna, it's not like it's gonna be that much higher. I was just trying to get a dimensional piece to that.
If you remember the old hair care sign, the one that we took down, it was very close in height to this one. I think that's where they got their starting point for this.
Okay, okay.
Having taken it down, I know how heavy it was.
Yep, yep. Now, did you get a chance to look at the comments that came back from the city, DPD?
I briefly talked to Joe about them, yeah.
Okay. Did you read through, and do you have any comments on some of their suggestions that they would like to see as opposed to what's being proposed?
If you could bring me up to speed on those, that'd be great.
Okay. So Joe, did this gentleman just get these, or when did he get them?
I had a different contact person for the application, so they were sent to that person. Mr. McCrensky hadn't really had a chance to look at them, but I can certainly provide my copy at this point.
Okay, yep.
Thanks, Joe.
If you need a couple of minutes to look through it,
Okay.
please take your time. That's,
So basically, from this, the first part I read, which is, they're really saying that the height of the sign might be a little bit too much, is that what?
well, when I read through their comments, they were taking basically, the new buildings have been put up and with the brickwork that's been done, and they
Yeah.
were doing comparatives to 2 other properties and the
Yep.
type of design or sign designs that were basically brought before this board and approved by this board.
Yep.
And I believe what the DPD was looking at was in harmony with those 2 signs and those 2 projects and the type of design work that was done with the building. They were making some recommendations to use that type of design work.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if something like that would actually work in that footprint or not. That's why I think they've made some additional comments in regards to that.
Okay. I mean, based upon the size of the island, we could definitely do, a brick planting there. I'm sure the owner, like I said, that was initially one of the designs. That island kind of changed shape 2 or 3 times.
Sure.
During the project. But we do have the room, if the board would prefer that, we could put that there.
Okay. Yeah, like I say, if you want to still look through their comments, I can
Yeah.
certainly give you the opportunity to do that. I mean,
most of the comments, what I see, you know, in terms of the landscaping, that wouldn't be a problem.
Yep.
Nor switching it to an LED versus a fluorescent,
Yeah.
that's not a problem.
So Joe, the copy you gave the gentleman is the pictures of the Walgreens, and it's the same stuff we received, right?
Yes, that's
The
correct.
Walgreens sample, okay. And the CVS on Bridge Street, okay. So that's what the city
Okay,
would, we've had a lot of battles and discussions with signs in general on this board, so.
yep,
The city's trying to do the right thing here. Again, the applicant might not think so or have their reservations, but I wanted to at least, A, give you the opportunity to look at their comments, and B, see if you have any flexibility with following the recommendations of DPD, if you
Yep.
have if it fits the footprint. Okay, do you have anything else at this point you'd like to
No.
add, sir?
Good.
Okay. I'm going to open it up to the public. Anyone here that'd like to speak in favor of this petition? In favor, hearing none. That portion of the public hearing is closed. Anyone like to speak in opposition? Opposition, opposition. Hearing none. That portion of the public hearing is closed. I'd like to open up to the board. Dennis.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I think the comments that you recently made make a lot of sense. The LED lighting is one of my favorites, and just the general feel and look of the sign wants to be, I think, more substantial. I mean, that's kind of hard. We don't want signs to really be there, but we'd like this one to be more substantial than what you're proposing, I guess, and to have more of a feel of the building.
okay.
I think incorporating the material in the building, the masonry, would be a big plus. Landscaping, and then,
Is the overall size of the sign seem okay?
you know, I wish it was shorter. I wish it was shorter. I don't know how to do that exactly, because you're wanting to have these 6 panels there,
Yep.
and you want to be able to see the cars, the traffic in the parking area there around the island, so you have to have it starting at a reasonable height so that you can see through it, so.
Exactly.
I'm not exactly sure if you can ask for it to be much shorter and still have signs that are meaningful, because you don't have big sign plates as it is, so I guess it is what it is. I don't know how that relates to the building exactly. The window head on the building is what, about 12 feet or 11 feet?
The start of the soffit is about 12 feet up, yep.
And you're looking for a panel height here that is 15, so you're 4 feet above that, almost 16.
Yeah,
So you're substantially higher. I'd like to see you try.
okay,
To see what you can do with the height. I understand that you have to do what you have to do, otherwise it's not worth doing, so.
okay.
But I think the design itself would go a long way to making sense for that area as far as the upgraded look that we're looking for. I know that a lot of the other signs are kind of similar to what you propose,
Yeah.
but the intent is to bring things into a more of a neighborhood kind of main thoroughfare kind of feel, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Kevin?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I'm in complete agreement with I guess what they're saying. I'm not opposed to the sign in general being there. I think the 2 changes going from an LED, from a fluorescent to an LED light would be definitely beneficial and preferred. And I think a brick planting type of sign would be better as well. So I don't know if we need to suggest a continuance to go back to signs 1, 2, 3, or Sign Express, or whatever the designer is, or if we would just recommend that you work with DPD to come up with something that's satisfactory. I think that's probably the better option in my opinion, but it is high, I guess, to jump to that question. Again, being a busy street for the viewing angles and things like that, I guess you kind of have to be, but there may be a potential if you could widen it and maybe thin it, you'd still have the same square footage of each sign if it got a little wider and maybe narrower. I don't know if that's an option.
Because of the shape of that island,
Yeah.
it's kind of strange.
It's hard to tell, yeah.
What you see, it goes around in an arc and then it turns.
Curves,
90
yeah, yeah.
for a
No, I do see
space.
that. It looks like, and I know this probably isn't 100% to scale as well, that there's a couple feet or whatever, so just from a design standpoint, if you could maybe make that a little broader as far as width, it might help the height as well. The signs might get a little thinner.
Gotcha.
Just, those are my comments. Thanks.
Thank you, Kevin. Gary?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I have just a couple quick notes. What are your hours of illumination?
I'm sorry,
Your hours of illumination for the plaza, what is the latest business hour open?
I believe we have an ice cream place at 10 o'clock at night. That's the only one who stays late.
And what hours would you be seeking to illuminate this light?
From dark, depending on the weather, winter time a little bit sooner, summertime later, and keep it till closing.
Up until closing or an hour after closing?
To me, even the lights around the buildings, I have them on timer, and they close.
Oh, so the rest of the building's on a timer. Will this be contiguous
Yes.
timer for,
They will
with
be,
this
they
light?
will be on time, yes.
So would this sign
To the sign.
on the
also,
same
yes.
timer as the other lights in the plaza,
Yes.
on the facade as well?
Exactly.
Oh, okay. That's my question. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Corey?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. I think the other board members wrote some good points, the converting to, excuse me, LED lighting and some kind of brick padding in the bottom, a little decorative, which I think we can put a condition on that you do work with planning and development and push this forward tonight. But as to the height of the sign, I you might think I might sound crazy here, but I don't think it's tall enough. Okay, as a business owner, if you're the very bottom tier on that sign, and you're in the rear, you're renting a space that's in the rear of the end of one of the units, you are at a disadvantage, okay? If you have a school bus or a large truck in front of you on the street, during traffic hour, just sitting waiting for the light, you're not visible, so this is a highly commercial zone, and there's no residential to speak of, so I'm in the best interest of these small businesses here. That corner was upgraded dramatically. I live in the neighborhood, and I'm pleased with it. But I only have what's in front of me. I do support it. But, I don't think it's going to be high. The bottom tier or two, I don't think it's going to be high enough, to be honest with you. So I do support it, and, I wish you the best of luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Corey. Van?
No comments, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. So, Joe, I'm going to ask the question, I'm not sure if you know. The Walgreens sign that was given to us as a sample of, do you have any idea what the height of that is?
That is about 15 to 16 feet as well. Falls right around the same height as this sign.
So you knew I was going to ask that question, right? Yeah, okay. And do you see that example of the Walgreens sign that was in the DPD handout there? That's similar. The reason why I asked Joe is that's similar in height to what you're proposing. See the Walgreens one?
Yep,
Yeah.
got it right in front of me, yep.
Yeah. So as people were speaking, I was kind of looking at that, if you took out the Walgreens name there and put your panels in, I don't know if that's something you can do for an example.
Yeah, I think that actually works pretty well. And then,
It kind of has the same, I'll say, frame
Yeah.
that you had given us in your plans. Obviously, it's different, but
the best part about that sign is because there's a lot of congestion in that corner.
Yep.
If you're in your car and you go out the entrance, like I think one of the other board members brought up, you can actually see the road still pretty well, so it's a pretty good template to go by.
so I guess I'll speak for myself. I'm not going to speak for all the board members, but I got to be in agreement with what DPD is kind of recommending, what we've done with other projects, just because brand new building, I mean, they look beautiful. I think the job you did there is outstanding that you put together. So if there's no, I'll call it resistance from the applicant, that, we could approve this, for instance, but condition it on working with DPD to get a final set of plans. And I'm not saying it has to be this exact thing, but I think you get an idea of what we're looking at, what we'd like to do. I don't have an issue with the proposal of the 16 feet myself. The landscaping that's, as it's shown here, I think that's the other piece that, and I think you even talked about it, that's something that could be done just to spruce it up. Again, brand-new area, I think it would lend itself nice. Additional landscaping, we already talked about that. And it's LED lighting. They had one other comment in here about the electrical connection, how the connection is made. Do you have any comments on that?
I run a piece of conduit before we did the sidewalk, so it's all roughed in place.
It's already roughed in?
Yeah, so all the sign people do is just set the sign, and then they leave it to my electrician to do all the real work and run the wire internally.
Okay, so that's all set. All right. All right, is there any other comments any of the board members have, anything that, and we talked about the hours of illumination, if I heard the gentleman correctly, the whole plaza all goes off at the same time.
Yes.
And so I guess the only condition I'll put in there, illumination not to exceed 1 hour after close down. I know you got potentially, I don't know what's going to happen with the other two businesses, who they're going to be. I guess maybe you're not anticipating anybody being there later than 10 o'clock at night. I know you said 10. Since you haven't really identified, or you don't have, do you know who's moving into the other two?
Right now, we're negotiating, but
Sure.
we don't have a
Yeah.
deal.
So do you think 10, 11 o'clock is fair enough, would probably be the latest?
Oh,
that-
yes, of course.
Okay.
Of course.
All right.
I don't want to pay more electricity to the
Yeah.
place, too.
Well, who knows, you
That's
might be
plenty.
trying to put a
That's-
disco club in there or
That's
something,
plenty.
you know what I mean?
10, 11 o'clock is plenty enough.
And deal with the license commission with that, but I think I'll just put that in as a condition. I know we had 10 o'clock, but, you know, do an hour after, since he's shutting down everything at the same time. Anything else, anybody else? Anything I've missed or added?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I think we should just say something about colors as well. So we're talking about using the Walgreens sign as a model to do something similar, and that colors are compatible maybe with the building and
The main sign on the
DPD's
building
wishes.
is the green, and so that's why they show the vertical post as the green.
Which I think works with a brick base as well, but I'm just saying we should give some direction as far as colors, if we could, compatible with the building and the wishes of DPD maybe.
You okay with that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, if I could have a motion.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, in the matter of ZBA 2012-30, 1782 Middlesex Street for a special permit for internally illuminated sign, I make a motion to approve with the following conditions. 1, convert the fluorescent plans to LED lighting. 2nd, construct a landscape planter within the island. 3rd, ensure the hours of illumination do not exceed 1 hour after closing in conjunction with the plaza businesses. And 3rd, utilize the Walgreens sign as a model and a sign template to be used and approved with appropriate colors by DPD.
So before I ask for a second, the only thing I want to make sure of is, if you're going to work, and Joe, I just want to make sure I'm asking this correctly, if they're going to work with you, like on a final set of plans, I'd like that to still come before us for review, before the final,
Sure,
we
that
see
could,
that.
could be incorporated into the last condition for the board's,
Okay.
brought back to the board for final approval.
Yep, okay. All right, can I have a second?
Second the motion?
Can I have a roll call?
Mr. Bailey?
Approved with conditions.
Mr. Belanger?
Approve with conditions.
Mr. Ahern?
Approve with conditions.
Mr. Perrin?
Approve with conditions.
Mr. McCarthy?
Approved with conditions.
Okay, sir, been approved with conditions. Wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Have a
you.
nice night.
Next matter before us is ZB 2012-31, petition is a variance, and the applicant is Annabelle Foley, property located at 365 Pine Street. Petition is to construct a new two-car garage within the required garage setback pursuant to section 5.1 of the zoning ordinance. Sir, are you here for Pine Street? Okay.
Good evening, sir. Yes,
Hi,
I call
sir.
behalf of my wife. Yeah,
Hi.
for 365 Pine. Yeah.
And did you see the gentleman that submitted the notice for the continuance or not?
I believe it's one of the homeowners that submitted that, yeah.
Okay. Yes, sir. You want to tell us something about what's going on?
Yes, I just want to postpone to add the date because we don't have enough paperwork. So we
Okay.
want
Okay, and we received a communication basically stating that still needs some more work to be done as far as submittal of plans. And so they asked for a 2-week continuance for this. Is there anything you have to say about the continuance, or you going to be ready in 2 weeks, or do you need more time than that?
probably 2 weeks enough for me. You know.
Okay, now the next meeting's in 3 weeks, right? Is that,
Yeah, it's correct. It's on August 13th because there's 5 Mondays this month.
okay. So you actually get in 3 weeks. The only thing I would, I guess, ask Joe again is any of these continuances that the board has ample time to review the set of plans that are going to be submitted. So if you can do your best to make sure the petitioner gives us ample time to review these, I'd appreciate that. Anything else you want to add, sir?
That's it, sir.
Okay, sir. So we're gonna grant the continuance to the next meeting, which is, what's the date again? August
August the 13th, Mr. Chairman.
13th. On Friday the 13th, right? Okay, August 13th. Okay, can I have a motion, please?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chairman, a matter before us, DBA 2012-31, at 365 Pine Street for a variance to construct a two-car garage. I make a motion to approve a continuance to the August 13th, 2012 meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a roll call.
Mr. Bailey?
Continue to August 13th.
Mr. Belanger?
Continue.
Mr. Ahern?
Continue.
Mr. Perrin?
Continued August 13th.
Okay,
Mr.
sir.
McCarthy?
He's been
Continue.
granted continuance August 13th.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir, thank
Thanks a
you.
lot.
All right, any other matters or business that any of the board members have? No minutes that were submitted, correct?
No, there were no minutes submitted.
Okay. Okay, with that being said, like a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Have a second?
Second it?
So moved.
Thank you.